Hey guys, I decided to start some seeds. My boyfriend gave this to me and asked me if I could use it for seeds starting. And I said, yeah, it's made out of the same material that those little pods are made out of that you buy, so I figured why not? Dump some soil in here, stick some seeds in here, good to go. So I just pulled out my bag of seeds from hiding in the corner. I don't know how well my germination rates are going to be because they've been out here and it has gotten hot. So I know you're supposed to keep them cool, so that may affect some things, but maybe not. But while it's nice and beautiful outside, I figured I'd go ahead and start some seeds because I'm excited. Don't mind my mess back there. I was just cleaning up some plants, and I haven't cleaned up from that project yet. Let me get some soil in here and then we'll talk about what seeds I'm going to start. Well, this was pretty moistened soil, but I guess sitting out here, it's just dried out completely, turned into a brick. So now I've got to break it apart before I can even plant in it. I guess while I'm doing this, I can tell you guys something I wanted to share. I learned in church today. Okay, first of all, let me say, if you don't want to hear this part, just skip ahead. I understand. I used to be the same way when Jess from Roots and Refuge Farm would start talking about God in her videos. I didn't watch those for a long time. Made me very uncomfortable. I didn't like it, but things have changed. Times have changed. I am now very open to hearing about those things. But anyway, you can skip ahead if you're not in that place. I get it. My pastor was talking about how when God makes a promise, He's the only one you can trust 100% not to break a promise. In the past, I've had issues with that statement because I feel like if you read the Bible, you see how promises that were made didn't come to fruition. What you have to understand, this is what I'm learning, is that that wasn't, God didn't break the promise. Humans broke the promise. And what I mean by that, and this is the way that my pastor put it today, which helped me to understand. So in the Bible, when they talk about a promise from God, it's referred to as a covenant. God has made several covenants throughout the Old Testament with different people and different nations. Jesus was the final covenant. So the way that my pastor put it today that finally made it click for me is another word for covenant is contract. Contract requires more than one party, and it's a promise from both sides. If one party breaks their side of it, then the contract is broken. Well, a lot of times what you see in the Bible is when God makes a covenant with someone, they're the ones who break their side of the contract, and then God has no choice. The contract's broken. It's a dead contract now. When you have a contract, two people agree, or parties agree on something. If you do this, then I'll do this. When I do this, you do this, and then this is you know what I'm saying. So it made me realize that the promises that I had in question, things I used to read, and particularly in the Old Testament, it wasn't God changing his mind or breaking his promise. It was the fact that the people that he made the contracts with broke their end of the deal. They didn't follow through on their end of the deal. So they canceled the contract. But people kept failing him. I should have prefaced this whole thing by saying I'm still learning. I am such a baby when it comes to this stuff. But the little pieces that I pick up here and there from going to church and Bible study and stuff, it really helps. And I just want to pass it along to other people who, don't know, may not have the understanding. I just want to pass it along. When I learn something new and I have a new understanding with something, I want to share it. When we become a Christian, we are basically signing our names onto that contract. God's part is saying, follow my son, get saved. Walk the way Jesus walked. Live the way Jesus lived. Love the way Jesus loved. and teach the way Jesus taught. If you do that, then you will have eternal life. You will be mine. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. I didn't understand that I was entering into a contract when I got saved and I asked Jesus to be Lord of my heart. I didn't know that. You know, I was taught growing up that you just get saved and then that's it. You're going to heaven. And I believed that for almost 40 years. When I was a kid, I got saved. I'm fine. Anybody who's ever been saved, going to heaven. Not how it works. I mean, that's scary. And that sucks. But there's a lot more to it than that. So, but just that small little explanation of what covenant actually means helped me understand my part. I have a part in this. I'm supposed to be doing something, not just sitting here waiting for heaven. That's not how it works. Before Jesus left this earth, after he died and he came back, he instructed his disciples to go out and teach, spread my word. As Christians, that is our job as well. And I'm going to be very honest and say that that's something that terrifies me. Speaking, I'm a very shy person anyway. Very introverted. Don't like really sharing my opinions. It's a little different here on my channel, but in everyday life, you're not gonna see me walk up to a stranger and just start a conversation. And the idea of spreading the gospel, the good news, has scared me for a very long time. And I really thought, oh, maybe I could just skate by. Maybe just believing and praying is enough. But, man, I could talk about this for hours. I didn't mean to get into all this. But, there's so many different branches of this I can go into. In order for God to fulfill his promise to us, we have to fulfill our side. When we become Christians, we basically make the promise to do what we're, what God wants us to do. He wants us to save, to lead his children back to him. That's all he wants. He wants his children. He can't make us do anything. He's never going to make us. He loves us. When you love somebody, you don't force anything. You try to guide them. You try to lead them. You try to do the best you can, right? But ultimately, it's up to them. So as Christians, we have work to do. And it scares me. It scares me. I'm still a little weird about talking to people about my faith, because I know how the world sees us. And I know that Christianity, religion as a whole, really gets a bad rap. There's been a lot of damage done in the name of God that wasn't right. But people, they don't see the whole story. They're not looking for the whole story. So this is something I have to get over. I have work to do. But, yeah, anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get off on that. I've got this filled now. I don't know if you can see that. There. And so I've got to decide what seeds I'm going to start. So it's too early to start like pumpkins, watermelons, things like that. Probably still too early to start okra. Here comes my boyfriend. So yeah, it's probably still a little too early yet to start a lot of things. I swear I have this growing wild around here. At least there's a weed that looks very much like this, but I haven't smelt it. I'm gonna give the spinach a try again. Years I've been trying to get spinach to grow and I just can't. It's supposed to be one of the easiest things in the world to grow. Not for me. Probably try to start some tomatoes. I did save seeds from some tomatoes that I planted last year. I really didn't get a harvest, but I got, one or two here and there that I could save seeds from, because I've heard that when you save seeds from, you know, a plant that you grew in your garden. The offspring of that are already basically pre-wired to survive in that area. So second generation seeds will do better for you. So I've heard many times from many sources. So I did save some, and I'm gonna try those. I think I was really hoping that my basil would come back, because once again, basil took me years to grow. I don't know why, but it did. I could go ahead and start peppers. They take a while to germinate and they need heat. I've really been wanting peppers for a while. I've got a couple peppers, and actually should probably go get those seeds. Try to start from those seeds before starting new seeds, but we're here, we have this, let's just do this. So I have here some Italian oregano that I have not had any success with yet. We'll give that a try again. Some thyme. I love thyme. I love cooking with thyme. I did not get it to grow last year. I did have a thyme plant in my previous house that was going for a couple years, I think. It wasn't like doing great, but it was enough that I could cook with it from time to time. There's a recipe, and I think I talk about this every single time I start seeds, but there's a recipe I really like, and these are 3 of the ingredients in it: the thyme, the basil, and the spinach. I'm gonna try these. I think I'll just sprinkle some of these in here. I'm not gonna try to start my peppers or tomatoes in here. Okay, maybe I lied, because I think those might grow well together. These are seeds I saved from my tomatoes. Chives. I've never had any luck with chives. I'll try it again, but we do have, actually I have some right in front of me. It looks like grass, but I'm still struggling. I loved the smell of this stuff until I got sick after eating something that had a similar flavor in it, and every time I was smelling it, it was making me nauseous, and I'm still having trouble with it. But I've dehydrated a lot of the stuff. This is onion grass. They call it wild garlic, wild chive, wild onion. It's onion grass. It could be used the same way that chives, onion, and garlic are used. So we have that growing all over our yard. I don't feel like it's necessary to have chives right now. I mean, it's interchangeable, so that's the best I'm going to be able to do right now. Alright, I hope this works, because that was a lot of soil to lose for no reason if it doesn't. Here is my tomatoes. I don't remember the variety, and I'm just going to put a couple in here, and then once they're big enough, I will separate them into their own pots. So Jess from Roots and Refuge likes to do this, where she like over sows something and then she'll just separate them out once they're big enough. She is my role model, and also the reason I came back to God. Alright, so I'm just going to sprinkle these. Where am I going to sprinkle them? Maybe right here in this corner. And for right now, I'm just going to place the seeds on top of the soil, and then I'll go back and push them down further. Then we'll do spinach. Spinach right here. Probably am going to need more seeds than this. What if I just like shook seeds all over the place in here, just like a big old mix, and like didn't even care what type they were, just see if it was going to work. I just dropped one of my spinach seeds. Basil. These seeds are so tiny, but they're not the tiniest. This is thyme. Yeah, I'm gonna put a lot of basil seeds in one spot. Put them right next to my tomatoes. All up in there, yes. Give me all the basil, thank you. Then my thyme. You guys ever smelled fresh thyme? It doesn't smell the same as, well, actually I don't think any of the herbs smell the same dried as they do fresh. Fresh is just best. Same thing, bunch of seeds, and we're just gonna just sprinkle them everywhere. Hope that even just a few of them take. Just imagine how many plants if everything worked out. I'd have my hands full. I definitely have to start selling off some of them. Oregano. Oh my gosh, these are even smaller. You can't even see them. It's all my oregano. Please work. I'm not even going to cover these guys. They're just too small. And put them all right here in this corner. Oh, I have a little visitor on my leg. These guys are out. It's that time of year, and they are everywhere. And this is the time of year where I start leaving the door open to my shed here. And this is also the time of year where these guys come out and get inside and start feasting on my plants and making cocoons in everything. Alright, that's more time. I don't need to plant more time. And that is more basil. I don't need more basil, but no, we'll see how those do first. More spinach. Sure, this is a different type of spinach. This is Sun Angel. The other one was Bloomsdale. So we can try to plant some of these as well. Right. That takes care of this area. Now we have all of this that we still need to fill in with something. So what shall we do? Get some peppers in there, even though I just said I wasn't going to. We have the room, so let's do it. I planted a ton of pepper and tomato seeds last year, and it just didn't work out. There's just something in this area, I don't know. Lots of bacteria, fungal issues. Now I know I'm in Florida, so blight is very common. It's a big issue for the Florida gardener. For as many plants as I planted last year, I should have had enough to feed, I don't know, half a dozen families at least. Keep them in peppers all year long, but it didn't work out that way. I need something else in here. Maybe flowers. Maybe that's what we'll do. Oh, I grabbed some okra, so I guess we'll go ahead and put some of those seeds in here too. Oh, I have another visitor on this leg. I've got 2 visitors. And then I'm gonna just sprinkle some flower seeds over in the corner, and we're gonna call this good. Now, I just need your help remembering to come out here and water these guys so that they will grow. I'm gonna go back in and push the bigger seeds down into the soil, so the okra seeds, the pepper seeds, spinach, and the tomatoes. I think that's all for the big ones. Yeah, those are gonna get pushed into the soil as deep as they are big. And then this really small seeds that you could barely see, I'm just gonna like rub over the soil, because you really don't need to cover them, but I also don't want them to dry out. There's this little pin right here. Poke these guys down in their holes, and then I'll cover them up. So a lot of times when you don't get a seed doesn't germinate, it could be because you either planted it too deep or too shallow, you know, gave it too much water or not enough, because seeds don't need light to germinate. Some of them do need heat, some of them need a freeze for a certain amount of time. But I think one of the ways that I fail continually is probably seed depth, and that's probably why I have such an issue with the herbs and stuff that I try to grow, because I don't know, I'm guessing here. Things like squash, melons, corn, cucumbers, all those big seeded things, I have no trouble getting to germinate. But all these little seeds, I've lost a caterpillar. I don't know where he went, and I don't want to squish him. All these little seed things, little small seed plants, I've just not ever had a whole lot of luck. So I'm guessing it's because I don't know how to plant them. Maybe with time and practice, it won't be an issue anymore. So I am gonna pack not too hard, but just a little bit, so that when I water, I don't just completely displace all the seeds. That's another issue I probably have had in the past, displacing my seeds. All right, there he is. I found it. I found my other visitor. He was on my shoulder. These are the caterpillars of the tent moth. The eastern tent moth or something like that. I don't know if you've ever seen the big like mats of webbing in the trees this time of year. That's these guys. I'm not gonna water it in because I pre-moisten the soil, and however, I will need to come out tomorrow morning probably and spritz it down a little bit, because it gets hot out in here, and when it's hot, it dries the soil out. So I'm gonna set this guy up on top of my propagation bin as soon as I get this guy off my hand. All right, so change plans. When I picked this up, the moisture from the soil has already started to break it down. It ripped in one spot. So I'm gonna need a tray to keep this guy on. I've got to find that, but until now he'll just sit on top of my terrarium. And yeah, I need to get a tray pretty quickly. That's it, you guys. That was a lot of talking, not a whole lot of work, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't run any of you off. I'm really excited for the gardening year. I'm excited for this year in general. There's just so much to look forward to, and I'm so glad that I can share it with you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me and for hanging out with me in my videos. I just love getting to hang out with you guys. All right, I'm gonna go. I hope I see you again in the next one. Bye.